In the heart of a bustling construction site, a group of laborers stumbled upon an ancient box buried beneath layers of soil and debris. Its weathered appearance hinted at a history that defied explanation. What could possibly be concealed within this enigmatic container? And why did it find its resting place here, of all places? The workers were determined to open the box, still unaware of what they would find inside. It would leave them truly baffled, and it would have greater consequences than any of them could have imagined. "Ryan, come here! You've got to see this," one of the workers called out. Ryan paused what he was doing, and he walked over to his colleagues, who were gathered around something, but he could not yet see what it was. As he approached them, he finally spotted on the box, and his eyes grew wide with surprise. "Whoa, what is that thing?" he asked, full of disbelief. "I have no idea. We just fished this out of here." Another one added, "I think we should try to open it. Who knows what we'll find inside?" The others agreed, and Ryan nodded as well. It had been a boring day so far, and there was nothing wrong with a little adventure, he thought. They started joking around about what kind of treasure they could possibly find inside when their boss arrived at the site. "What are you all laughing at? Get back to work, now!" he yelled. The workers all did as he asked. They did not want to get on his bad side, and agreed to open up the box during their lunch break. Ryan continued working, but he couldn't take his eyes off the box. It looked really odd to him, and he had never seen something like it before. He had noticed something was inscribed on the side, but he hadn't been able to get a good look at it yet. Besides, he wondered how this box could have ended up here, in the middle of nowhere. He was too curious and decided that he could not wait until lunch. He took a bathroom break instead, but afterward he did not go back to work. You guessed it. He wanted to take another look at the box. He could finally see the inscriptions, but he had no idea what they meant. However, he did not have any time to decipher them now. His boss had seen him, and he called out, "Ryan, what are you doing? Stop wasting your time, and my money. Get to work." Ryan nodded and quickly returned to his task. While he was working, he kept looking at his watch to check the time, and sighed when the minutes seemed to go by slower than ever. "Hey, Cam," he said to his colleague, "what do you think we'll find in that box?" Cameron shrugged and told him that he had no idea, but he was getting more and more curious, too. "It will definitely be something special. I just feel it," he added. Ryan was glad to see he wasn't the only curious one among the group. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, it was time for the lunch break. Ryan inhaled his lunch as quickly as he could, and he finally walked over to the box, crouching down next to it to take another look at the inscriptions. None of his colleagues could decipher them, so he decided to look them up online. And this is where the chaos would begin. While the rest was looking for ways to open the box without damaging it, Ryan tried to find out what the inscriptions meant. After a few minutes, Cameron noticed that he had turned completely pale. "Bud, you okay?" he asked him. But Ryan did not respond. He was fully focused on the phone screen, and he did not seem to hear Cam at all. "Ryan, did you find anything?" someone else asked. And at that moment, it was like Ryan broke out of a trance. "Guys, stop! We have to leave that box alone. I don't think we should open it. Just trust me on this one, all right?" he finally said. Everyone around him was surprised at this sudden twist, seeing that Ryan had been very eager to open the box at first. "What are you talking about?" a colleague asked, and Ryan repeated what he had just said. "I don't think we should do it. We have to put it back where we found it, and just leave it alone." He sounded serious, and his face looked troubled. The others were all silent for a moment, and then someone finally asked, "Why?" Ryan did not give them a clear answer, but he just muttered something along the lines of, "It's not ours to take, It could be dangerous. Everybody just shrugged it off, and the others regrouped, clearly intending to ignore Ryan's advice and open the box anyway. "Sorry, man. We're doing this anyway," Cameron told him. "Whatever is inside, it can't be that bad, right?" The workers took turns trying to open the box, and at some point their boss even joined in as well. He was usually very strict and focused on work, but this seems to have caught his interest. However, nobody managed to open the box, no matter what they tried. Ryan was relieved to see their plan was failing, but that wouldn't last long. One of the workers suddenly called out, "Wait, I have an idea. I'll be right back," and he disappeared onto the construction site. Ryan was getting worried now, thinking about the possible consequences they would face if they did manage to open it. He thought about leaving, but right then his colleague returned, and he had brought a crowbar. "Ooh, that should do it," Cam exclaimed. He could only think about the valuable treasure that might be waiting for them inside, and he was excited to open it up. "All right, who's ready to see what's inside?" the guy with the crowbar exclaimed, and he got ready to pry open the box. It was time. Ryan stepped forward, his hands raised in a gesture of pleading. "Look, I don't know exactly what's in there, but I have a gut feeling that it's bigger than us, bigger than this site. Let's just call the authorities. There are protocols for discoveries like this." He eyed each of his co-workers, hoping his earnestness would pierce through their excitement. "Come on, Ryan," retorted Mark, a wiry man with dust-covered overalls. "We've been working this land for months and haven't found a dime. This might be our ticket to something big." Several workers murmured in agreement. The allure of the unknown, combined with the potential of a priceless artifact, was too tempting. There was no turning back now. With a determined grip, the man with the crowbar wedged its curved end into a small opening along the box's seal. The workers watched in rapt attention, their breathing synchronized in tense anticipation. A heavy creaking sound echoed, and then, with one powerful pull, the crowbar did its job. The lid slowly began to lift, revealing darkness within. The dim afternoon sunlight shone upon the now open box. At first, all that could be seen was old, tarnished metal and worn leather casings. But as the workers leaned in closer, it became evident that the box was filled with items, photographs, reels, and other objects from a bygone era. Whispers filled the air. "What is this? Looks old, really old." As everyone was engrossed in the box's contents, Rian stood apart, his expression turning graver. There was a heaviness in his heart, something he couldn't articulate. He had read enough, seen enough to know that such artifacts weren't just random lost items. "We should have listened," he whispered, feeling a weight of responsibility. The aftermath of this discovery would soon reveal itself. Just as the buzz around the box reached its peak, a distant rumble diverted their attention. From the horizon, a convoy of sleek, unmarked vehicles appeared, kicking up dust as they accelerated towards the construction site. The workers exchanged uneasy glances. The vehicle's rapid approach and purposeful formation signaled that this wasn't just any casual visitor. The vehicles skidded to a halt, dust clouds forming around them. The doors opened almost synchronously, revealing men in crisp black suits. Their mirrored sunglasses concealed their eyes, but their faces wore expressions of stern purpose. They briskly walked towards the group of workers, badges glinting in the sunlight, making their authoritative presence felt immediately. One of the agents, presumably the leader, stepped forward, his voice authoritative. "Who opened this box? Speak now," he demanded, scanning the faces of the workers. The group exchanged nervous glances, but no one uttered a word. The agents began isolating individuals, asking pointed questions about the discovery, the box's contents, and their actions after its unearthing. From the corner of his eye, Ryan observed every move the agents made, every question they posed. He clenched his fists, the weight of his prior foreboding now fully sinking in. The mix of curiosity and fear was palpable among his colleagues, but for Ryan, it was different. He had felt the unease earlier, and now it manifested as a dark premonition of what was to come. After a series of rapid-fire questions, the leader gestured to his team. Without a word, they began herding the workers towards the vehicles. Confused murmurs rippled through the crowd. "Where are we going? What's happening?" Ryan felt a firm grip on his arm, guiding him towards an SUV. The doors closed behind them, marking the beginning of an unforeseen journey into the unknown. The vast room echoed with the faint sounds of distant conversations. Each worker was encased in an individual glass cubicle, lit with a harsh, sterile light. A singular table and chair sat in each space, awaiting its occupant. The environment felt cold and clinical, a stark contrast to the warm camaraderie they felt earlier at the site. The thick glass muffled voices, but their mutual anxiety was palpable in the air. In each chamber, a suited agent explained the situation with gravitas. "The box you discovered is of national importance. Its contents are classified, but understand this: you've stumbled upon something much larger than a mere historical artifact." Faces exchanged glances of fear and bewilderment. The weight of the situation pressed upon them, as the thrill of discovery shifted into the dread of its implications. Seated in his own chamber, Ryan felt the tick of the clock more acutely than the rest. Every minute seemed to stretch indefinitely. His palms were sweaty, his thoughts racing. What had his online search revealed that others hadn't seen? Why did this feel so different from all other artifacts he'd read about? The weight of the unknown was almost crushing, each second intensifying the unease. Two agents entered Ryan's cubicle. Their stern faces scanned him as they silently read the notes in front of them. "Mr. Ryan," began one, "we've been informed that you took particular interest in the box, even before it was opened. Care to explain why?" Their piercing gaze sought to unravel him, suspecting that his knowledge ran deeper than a mere construction worker's curiosity. Across the room, the other workers listened intently to their interrogators, but couldn't shake off the image of the opened box. The photographs, the reels, the sense of a time long past but suddenly present. Every question seemed to underscore how consequential their accidental discovery was. The interrogation room was cold and sterile, its walls absorbing the tension that built up between Ryan and the agents. With a projector whirring in the background, an agent displayed images of Ryan's social media activity and location history. "So, Mr. Ryan, frequent visits to the local library? Often searching for historical artifacts?" questioned Agent Morris, his tone skeptical. The spotlight was on Ryan, the pressure mounting. Gathering his wits, Ryan responded, "I'm a history enthusiast. Look, here." He showed them his phone, bringing up his recent online search history. Articles about ancient artifacts, mysteries of old construction sites, and the local history. "This is just a hobby, nothing more. I was merely curious about the inscriptions on the box," he asserted, hoping the truth in his voice was clear. At that moment, the door opened, and Cameron was ushered in. He looked at Ryan with a mix of concern and confidence. "He's telling the truth," Cameron began. "We all saw him search. He was as shocked as any of us about the box. We can vouch for him." The room was filled with an intense silence, broken only by the scribbling of an agent's pen. After what felt like an eternity, Agent Morris slid a packet of papers toward Ryan. "This is a non-disclosure agreement," he stated tersely. "By signing this, you are binding yourself to absolute silence regarding today's events. Any deviation, Any slip, and the consequences will be dire. Ryan's hands trembled slightly as he picked up the pen. This was the price of his freedom. With the agreement signed, the agents allowed Ryan to leave the imposing government building. As the heavy door closed behind him, the weight of the day's events pressed down on his shoulders. The sky outside was beginning to darken, mirroring the cloak of secrecy he now wore. He was free, but with a story he could never share, forever trapped in his own mind. The sun hung lower in the sky as the group was shuttled back to the construction site. The normally jovial workers sat silently, each lost in their own thoughts. The weight of the day's events pressed down on them, leaving a tangible tension in the air. The vast expanse of the site, once a hub of activity, now seemed eerily quiet and introspective. Inside a makeshift tent, a stern-faced official presented each worker with a document. One by one, they took up the pen, their hands hesitating just a moment before signing. The act felt final, as if sealing away a chapter of their lives they could never revisit. The gravity of the non-disclosure agreement wasn't lost on any of them. Envelope-clad hands were extended to each worker, containing an amount that many had never seen before. Some expressions showed surprise, others relief. But there was a universal understanding that this money wasn't a windfall. It was a price for their silence, a tether to the mysterious events that had transpired. It was a compensation for what they might never truly understand. Under the dimming twilight, small groups huddled together, their voices low. Speculations were rampant, yet all were careful to dance around the specifics. "Do you think?" began one. "I can't believe," whispered another. Though they shared the experience, each had their own theory, their own piece of the puzzle. But the full picture remained elusive, just out of reach. As the night deepened, a silent pact formed among the workers. Eyes met eyes, heads nodded imperceptibly. The events of the day had bound them together in a unique camaraderie. Their shared secret became a silent testament to their bond. A bond that would withstand time, ensuring the mystery of the box remained hidden in the annals of their collective memories. The once disturbed soil of the construction site was again alive with activity. Machines roared, and workers moved with purpose, laying foundations and erecting structures. The mysterious box had been extracted from their immediate reality, yet its aura lingered, casting occasional shadows of intrigue upon the faces of the workers as they toiled under the sun. Lunch breaks saw the men huddled together, reliving the day of the discovery in whispered tones. "Can you believe what we found?" one would begin, eyes wide with remembered wonder. Others would nod, trading stories, each one more embellished than the last. However, certain details, ones that were too risky to speak aloud, were always consciously omitted. One sunny morning, the site manager gathered everyone. "In light of recent events and recognizing true dedication, we've decided to promote Ryan to a supervisory role," he announced. A round of applause erupted. Ryan, taken aback by the sudden elevation, managed a smile, acknowledging the nod of approval from his peers. With his new title, Ryan's interactions with his colleagues took on a different hue. They now approached him with queries, trusting his judgment. The memory of the box had showcased Ryan's intuition and genuine concern for the well-being of all. And that wasn't forgotten. The camaraderie grew, and mutual respect became the foundation of their relationships. As days melted into weeks, the incident with the box spurred a sense of wonder among the workers. Conversations often drifted towards what other secrets might be buried beneath their feet. The vast expanse of the construction site suddenly seemed like a canvas of untapped histories. and every excavation held the promise of another enigma. The world below was full of stories waiting to be unearthed. The site buzzed with an electrified energy. Cranes swung, bulldozers moved earth, and the skeletal structure of the new building began to solidify with walls, windows, and roofs. The hum of machinery was relentless. Progress was palpable. The crew could almost taste the end of the project, and with every brick laid, they were one step closer to finishing what had become a monumental endeavor. Over shared lunches, quick breaks, and the casual banter that punctuated their hard labor, a tight-knit bond formed among the workers. They all carried the weight of the discovery, a shared secret that only strengthened their camaraderie. Inside jokes about the box emerged, and winks and nudges became their silent language. Despite the looming presence of the unknown, the workers became more like brothers than colleagues. Nightly dinners turned into storytelling sessions. While specifics remained veiled, the tale of the box discovery became a favorite. Fathers regaled their children with tales of the mystery from beneath, turning the construction site into a treasure hunt in young imaginations. Over campfires, barbecues, and late-night porch talks, the legend of their discovery grew, ensuring its place in family lore for years to come. Standing atop a newly erected platform, Ryan gazed out over the sprawling construction site. The machinery's rhythmic hum, the coordinated chaos of workers below, it was all under his purview. The supervisor badge on his chest felt heavy, but also immensely satisfying. From the enigma of the box to managing a site, he'd come a long way. A smile crept onto his face. Pride welled within him. As the days dwindled and the finishing touches adorned the structure, a mixed emotion permeated the crew. Elation at the imminent completion jostled with the nostalgic pang of a journey ending. They had unearthed more than just a box. They'd unearthed memories, friendships, and stories that would outlast the very building they erected. The construction site became a symbol of discovery, camaraderie, and the enduring human spirit. The towering edifices and neatly paved roads replaced the dust and machinery that had dominated the landscape for months. Trees planted along the streets stood tall, casting shadows on the benches below. The construction site, once full of noise, chaos, and endless labor, had transformed into a beacon of modern architecture, an ode to the dedication of the workers. Ryan walked slowly, his boots crunching the gravel beneath. Each step took him back to the days of relentless work, the camaraderie among the workers, and the day they found that mysterious box. The site, though unrecognizable in its new form, held fragments of memories at every corner. The setting sun painted a golden hue, making his journey down memory lane even more poignant. He stopped near a large oak tree, its roots digging deep into the earth. What other secrets did this land hide? Ryan wondered. Were there more boxes, more tales of the past, just waiting to be uncovered? He felt the ground beneath him, thinking of the layers of history, tales, and mysteries that remained hidden, echoing the whispers of time. The final whistle blew, signaling the end of a chapter. Workers packed up their tools, machines were turned off, and the once busy site gradually emptied. The noise of construction, the shouts of workers, and the hum of machinery were replaced with an eerie silence. All that remained were the towering structures, standing tall, bearing witness to the site's evolution. Ryan stood at the entrance, his eyes surveying the site one last time. This place had given him challenges, forged bonds, and unveiled a mystery that would remain with him forever. With a deep breath, he felt gratitude for the lessons and memories. "Goodbye," he whispered to the winds, turning his back to the site and walking away. leaving behind a legacy of leadership and discovery. Decades ago, when the box was hidden away, the world was on the precipice of change. Boundaries were being drawn and redrawn, allegiances were shifting, and mistrust brewed between superpowers. The air was thick with tension, and the mere whisper of the Cold War sent shivers down spines. In this tumultuous era, the box found its secret resting place, holding on to its guarded secrets. The deeper Ryan delved into the box's history, the more he realized its connection to a world of covert operations and clandestine meetings. These weren't just relics of a bygone era. They were remnants of espionage during the height of global tension. The items inside painted a narrative of spies, weaving webs of deceit and information in a world precariously balanced on the edge of conflict. As he sifted through the contents, Ryan discovered old film reels, their edges frayed with time, and black-and-white photographs depicting unknown faces and undisclosed locations. Each frame was a window to a world that had long faded, capturing moments that spoke of secrets, whispered rendezvous, and covert missions. It was like touching a fragment of history, frozen in time. The box, as Ryan pieced together, was intended for a discreet handoff. Whether it was intercepted or merely forgotten, it never reached its intended recipient. The exchange, meant to take place under the cover of darkness, was a pivotal moment in a high-stakes game of cat and mouse. But fate had other plans, leaving the box buried and forgotten, only to be unearthed by unsuspecting workers. With every revelation, more questions arose. Who were the people in the photographs? What message did the film reels carry? Why was the exchange interrupted? Ryan had unveiled a chapter from a dense history book, but several pages remained missing. The box's origin was clear, but its journey and the stories it held continued to baffle and intrigue, leaving behind a trail of unsolved mysteries. Sitting in his makeshift office at the site, Ryan shuffled through the papers, his eyes widening with every read. The realization of the gravity of their discovery weighed heavily on him. These weren't just old documents. They were testament to political maneuvers and covert operations that had shaped the course of global history. The implications were vast and potentially still reverberating in modern geopolitics. Word of the discovery spread like wildfire among the workers. Whispers, astonishment, and wide-eyed expressions became common. For many, this was the most thrilling find of their careers, overshadowing even the grandeur of the structures they were building. Years later, they'd recount this tale, speaking of the day when their construction site turned into a treasure trove of history. However, with the thrill came responsibility. The crew collectively decided to keep their find a secret, understanding the sensitive nature of the intelligence. They became its guardians, ensuring that no word slipped outside their tight-knit group. The box's secrets, though unveiled to them, would remain hidden from the rest of the world, protected by their vow of silence. As days turned into months and months into years, the construction site changed, but the memory of the box remained, steadfast and vivid. In a world where secrets often remained buried, this box had emerged as a symbol of serendipitous discovery. Though its specifics were shielded by a pact, its legacy lived on, forever imprinted in the memories of Ryan and his colleagues, a testament to the unexpected that life can offer. Do you like this touching and surprising story? If so, we invite you to leave us a comment expressing your opinion. If you want to continue enjoying inspiring stories like this one, subscribe to our channel or check out the other videos shown at the bottom of the screen. Thank you for your cooperation.